You never meet anyone by pure chance. The emotions you carry, the unresolved wounds within you, and everything that continues to exist beneath the surface shape the encounters you experience. This is not mere coincidence. It is the law of resonance at work. You naturally attract experiences that resonate with your inner state, whether you realize it or not. Even the most difficult relationships often carry lessons the ego resists, yet the soul needs to hear. Carl Jung believed that life's most meaningful encounters are rarely random. In his view, some connections begin to take shape on a deeper spiritual level long before two people ever meet. So what are your relationships revealing about you? In this documentary, you'll discover why certain bonds are formed, why familiar patterns keep repeating, and how encounters that seem like coincidence may actually reflect the deepest parts of your own inner world. Stay with me until the very end. Because once you truly understand how the law of resonance shapes your relationships, you'll begin to see that what once seemed like coincidence may actually be the language of your unconscious mind. Chances are every one of us has experienced something like this at least once in our lives. You're simply living your life when, without warning, someone unexpectedly enters it. A brief glance across a cafe, a casual conversation on the subway, or a message sent to the wrong number. And suddenly, nothing feels the same again. At first, it seems like nothing more than a coincidence. Yet the encounters that change the course of our lives rarely follow a visible logic. They are not driven by plans, algorithms, or careful control. Instead, they carry a different feeling, as if they were part of a story written long before the moment itself. Even without conscious intention, that person is somehow drawn into your life, as though an invisible thread had quietly connected two people living entirely separate lives. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Jung believed that the people who enter our lives are rarely there by accident. They often serve as mirrors, revealing hidden parts of ourselves and bringing lessons we have yet to learn. In the modern world, we tend to explain meaningful encounters as luck, coincidence, or fate. When someone changes the course of our lives, most of us accept it without asking why it happened in the first place. Jung offered a different perspective. He believed that some people enter our lives through patterns rooted deep within the unconscious, challenging the modern assumption that events are completely random. According to Jung, experiences that appear unrelated may actually be connected through a deeper layer of meaning. He called this phenomenon synchronicity, the idea that certain coincidences reflect a hidden alignment between our inner world and the events unfolding around us. In other words, synchronicity, a concept that became one of the central ideas of Jung's life's work. What most people dismiss as mere coincidence, Jung saw as signs of a hidden harmony between the unconscious mind and the external world. Synchronicity refers to events that have no obvious cause and effect relationship, yet carry profound personal meaning. When meeting someone feels far more significant than chance alone could explain, Jung believed it may be the unconscious expressing your inner state through external events. Encounters like these can carry symbolic messages, gently pushing us toward growth and transformation. From Jung's perspective, some of life's apparent accidents may not be accidents at all. Throughout his clinical work, he witnessed countless meaningful coincidences during his patients' healing journeys. Many of these moments became turning points in therapy. One of the most famous examples is the story of the golden scarab. While a patient was describing a dream about a golden beetle, a rare beetle strikingly similar to the one in her dream suddenly tapped against Jung's office window. For Jung, the significance of the moment was not the insect itself, but the psychological shift it created. The event broke through the patient's rigid rational mindset and opened the door to the symbolic language of the unconscious. Jung never viewed this as magic or supernatural intervention. Instead, he saw it as a meaningful meeting point between the inner self and external reality. To him, the psyche was not confined to the mind alone. It actively shaped the way we perceive, interpret, and experience the world around us. When inner conflicts or unfulfilled desires reach a certain intensity, the unconscious often begins to express them through the people who enter your life. These individuals are not simply background characters. They become symbolic figures in your journey of individuation. They may appear as a stranger who transforms the way you think, or as a partner who forces you to confront your deepest emotional wounds. They tend to arrive precisely when the unconscious is ready to reveal something you have not yet seen. Because the true aim of the inner self is not comfort, it is wholeness. Jung never claimed that the people who enter our lives are meant to make us happy. More often, they arrive to shake us awake. He viewed these disruptions as an essential part of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming psychologically whole. True wholeness includes not only the parts of ourselves we proudly accept, but also the parts we suppress, deny, or refuse to acknowledge. That is why the people who trigger us the most often become our greatest teachers. They reflect aspects of the unconscious that are finally ready to emerge. Someone who seems to have hurt you may simply have uncovered wounds that were already waiting beneath the surface. From Jung's perspective, such people do not enter our lives by chance. They tend to appear when we are finally prepared to face our shadow, our unresolved trauma, and the hidden parts of ourselves. Their purpose is not merely to change our circumstances, but to initiate inner transformation. Even the timing of these encounters carries meaning. One of the clearest signs of synchronicity is that certain people appear exactly when they are needed most. We rarely meet them during ordinary moments. Instead, they arrive while we are vulnerable, questioning our lives, moving through major transitions, or searching for a new direction. Jung believed that whenever we approach a psychological threshold, the unconscious becomes especially active. During these periods, dreams, symbols, archetypes, and sometimes other people begin expressing the same message in different forms. Have you ever met someone shortly after a painful breakup, the loss of a job, a spiritual awakening, or another life-changing event, only to realize that they reflected exactly what you were experiencing inside? Jung would argue that this is more than coincidence. It is the unconscious inviting you to integrate your experience and take another step toward becoming whole. Some of the people who enter your life become the catalyst for your greatest collapse, or your greatest transformation. Either way, their arrival often carries a deeper purpose. Jung believed that people function as mirrors. The encounters we experience in the outside world frequently reflect conflicts that already exist within us. The psyche does not simply want to be understood, it also longs to be seen, and it often uses other people to make that possible. That is why we are drawn toward those who reflect our deepest longings, our hidden fears, or the wounds that still await healing. What appears to be a random connection may actually reveal a much deeper psychological process unfolding beneath the surface. Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting emotionally unavailable partners? Or why similar personalities, narcissistic, manipulative, or emotionally wounded people, seem to reappear throughout your life? From Jung's perspective, this is not simply bad luck. These people act as mirrors, reflecting parts of the unconscious that are asking to be recognized. They can embody unresolved psychological patterns that already exist within you. Without realizing it, you project aspects of your unconscious onto them, which is why similar experiences often repeat themselves with different people. The cycle continues until the underlying pattern is finally brought into awareness. Imagine that you repeatedly experience abandonment in your relationships. On the surface, it may seem like nothing more than betrayal by others. But from a Jungian perspective, those experiences may also reflect a fear of intimacy or a deep abandonment wound rooted much earlier in life. These recurring patterns are not punishments. They are psychological messages that continue repeating until they are understood and integrated. One of the strongest clues that an encounter is more than coincidence is the intensity of your emotional response. If someone instantly evokes a powerful sense of connection, discomfort, fear, fascination, or even aversion, Jung would suggest that your unconscious is recognizing something far more significant than the conscious mind can immediately explain. Jung often encouraged his students and patients to pay close attention to their strongest emotional reactions. Intense feelings of anger, admiration, fear, or discomfort frequently reveal more about the unconscious than they do about the other person. If someone provokes you without any clear reason, Jung would suggest that your shadow has been activated. If you immediately place someone on a pedestal, you may be projecting your inner image of the ideal man or woman onto them. And if a complete stranger feels strangely familiar, they may have touched a deep archetypal layer within your unconscious. Powerful emotional reactions are rarely about the other person alone. More often, they reveal what that person represents within your own inner world. Encounters like these invite you to recognize aspects of yourself that have remained hidden for years. Some meetings also become the beginning of an entirely new chapter. Sometimes a single person changes the direction of your life. A teacher speaks one sentence that transforms your perspective. A stranger on a subway listens to your story. A new friend introduces you to a book, an idea, or an experience that quietly reshapes your future. From the outside, these moments appear to be ordinary coincidences. But through Jung's lens, they mark the beginning of a new psychological chapter. The unconscious often speaks through symbols, and sometimes another person becomes that symbol. Your shadow does not appear only in dreams. It may arrive as someone who deeply challenges you, loves you intensely, or unexpectedly walks away. Encounters like these dismantle your old identity and invite you toward a deeper, more integrated version of yourself. One of Jung's most profound insights was that your inner world influences who enters your life. You do not simply attract what you consciously desire. You attract experiences that reflect who you are, including the parts of yourself that remain unconscious. If you carry unresolved trauma, you may eventually meet someone who brings that wound to the surface. Not to hurt you again, but to make what has remained hidden finally visible, creating the possibility for healing to begin. If a part of you secretly fears being truly seen, you may find yourself meeting someone who eventually walks away. Their presence can bring that hidden fear into the light. If you are learning to value yourself and establish healthy boundaries, you may repeatedly encounter people who challenge those very boundaries. From Jung's perspective, these experiences are not punishments. They are meaningful moments of psychological alignment. On one side is the lesson your soul is ready to learn. On the other is the person capable of bringing that lesson into your life. Often they have no idea how important their role truly is. They may resist the connection, disappear unexpectedly, or remain only briefly. Yet their impact can last for years. In Jungian psychology, people are never merely individuals. They often embody symbolic roles that reflect the stage of psychological development you are moving through. One person becomes a mirror, revealing both your strengths and your shadow. Another becomes a trigger, awakening emotions you did not know were still alive. Someone else appears as a teacher, offering a single insight that changes your understanding forever. Others seem destructive at first, yet ultimately shake you out of psychological stagnation. And sometimes a guide enters your life, quietly leading you toward healing or awakening. You may feel instantly drawn to these people, or experience an equally powerful resistance toward them. Either reaction can point to something far deeper than ordinary compatibility. Symbolism often reveals itself in subtle ways. A friend recommends a book that transforms your outlook. A relationship exposes your deepest fear of abandonment. Even a brief conversation with a stranger can become the moment your life quietly changes direction. For Jung, encounters like these are visible expressions of the unconscious speaking through everyday life. Jung believed that we are not isolated individuals drifting alone through the universe. Instead, he argued that we are all connected through the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of shared symbols, archetypes, and universal patterns. This means that some encounters are not merely personal, they also carry a universal significance. At different stages of your life, you may meet someone who embodies the archetype of the wise one, the trickster, the mother, or the lover. These people do more than influence your thoughts or emotions. They awaken ancient psychological patterns that already exist within your psyche. That is why certain individuals feel strangely destined, almost mythical, or deeply familiar from the very first moment you meet them. Yet these encounters are not always meant to last forever. Jung believed that once a symbolic role has been fulfilled, the relationship itself may naturally come to an end. The connection fades, people move on, and the powerful sense of destiny disappears. That does not mean the relationship was meaningless. It may simply mean that its psychological purpose has been fulfilled. One of Jung's most difficult ideas to accept is this: people often leave our lives after completing the symbolic role they were meant to play. We tend to hold on to people because of the emotions they awaken within us. But from the perspective of the psyche, the lesson may already be complete. While the conscious mind longs for the relationship to continue, the unconscious may no longer need what that person came to teach. That is why some people quietly drift away, while others disappear through painful or dramatic endings. The ego resists this, but the deeper self understands when it is time to move forward. Perhaps the most important question is not, why did they leave, but what did they awaken within me? That single question has the power to transform suffering into self-understanding. When you begin looking at your past through this perspective, old relationships take on an entirely different meaning. The friend who betrayed you may have taught you the importance of healthy boundaries. The former partner who shattered your confidence may have exposed emotional patterns you had never recognized. The stranger who comforted you during your darkest moment may have reflected the healer that already existed within you. Jung encouraged people to see their lives not as a series of random events, but as a meaningful chain of interconnected experiences, each contributing to the development of the self. At this point, there is another book that closely aligns with everything we've explored so far: The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Murphy offers a compelling perspective on why we repeatedly attract certain people, experiences, and life patterns. His work explores how the subconscious mind quietly shapes our reality, often in ways we fail to recognize until we begin paying attention. One of the central ideas presented in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind is that our subconscious, not our conscious mind, has a profound influence on our behavior, our choices, and even the kinds of people we repeatedly encounter. What you consciously say you want is only part of the story. If, deep within, you carry beliefs of rejection, abandonment, unworthiness, or not being enough, those hidden patterns quietly shape the way you perceive the world and respond to it. Murphy compares the subconscious mind to fertile soil. Whatever is planted there, repeated thoughts, deeply felt emotions, or long-held beliefs, takes root, grows, and eventually becomes part of your lived reality. This is where his perspective closely aligns with the idea of the law of resonance. The patterns you carry within influence the experiences you repeatedly notice, create, and become drawn toward. Your relationships, meaningful encounters, and recurring life patterns begin to reflect what has been quietly developing beneath conscious awareness. Perhaps the most empowering part of Murphy's philosophy is his belief that these subconscious patterns can change. By gradually replacing limiting beliefs with healthier ones and consistently cultivating new mental images and emotional responses, your inner world begins to transform. As your inner experience changes, the way you engage with the world and the experiences you invite into your life can begin to change as well. Viewed through this lens, many relationships are shaped less by rational decisions than by unresolved emotional wounds, unintegrated parts of the self, or qualities that are still seeking growth. If you find yourself drawn to the same kinds of people or repeating the same emotional cycles, exploring the role of the subconscious may offer an entirely new perspective. This is not simply a motivational message or a piece of self-help advice. It is an invitation to understand how deeply our inner beliefs can influence the way we experience life. And when meaningful change begins within, the outside world often starts to look different as well. If you're interested in understanding your recurring relationship patterns on a deeper level, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind is a thought-provoking book that is well worth reading. Another important truth is this: not every relationship enters your life to complete you. Some arrive simply to remind you that you were already whole. These connections are not built upon emotional emptiness or dependency. They do not exist to sustain fantasy or fill an inner void. Instead, they are rooted in presence. Two people simply exist beside one another, and that alone can become a deeply healing experience. The relationships that truly heal us are not always the most passionate or dramatic. They are the ones where you are free to be yourself, where you no longer feel the need to perform, where you are genuinely heard, where your silence is respected, and where even your broken parts are accepted without judgment. In relationships like these, the other person does not try to fix you. They simply walk beside you. They remain present while you rebuild yourself. In Jungian psychology, this experience reflects what can be understood as the archetype of the healer. The quiet presence of someone who listens without judgment, accepts without trying to reshape you, and is able to witness your pain without turning away. Being with someone like this can feel like finally arriving at a place where you're able to breathe again. Yet even these relationships can be challenging. True healing does not come from comfort alone. It grows out of authentic presence. Sometimes another person simply reveals how far you have drifted from yourself. They touch the places you have kept hidden, not to wound you, but to bring those hidden parts into the light. And when those vulnerable places are met with compassion rather than judgment, what once felt fragmented can slowly begin to heal. We often expect other people to complete what we believe is missing within us, but truly healing relationships make no such promise. Instead, they offer reflection, support, honesty, and acceptance. While that may seem less dramatic, it is often far more transformative. Rather than creating dependence, these relationships return the inner strength that dependency quietly takes away. Healing love does not promise to rescue you. It reminds you that you already possess the ability to rebuild yourself. It does not carry you through life. It gives you the strength to walk on your own. It may hold your hand for a while, but it never prevents you from moving forward. Not every relationship of this kind is meant to last forever. Some enter your life only for a season. They bring warmth where there was cold, awaken growth where there was stillness, and quietly move on. Yet the change they leave behind remains. They prove that it is possible to form profound connections without losing your own identity. They do not arrive to fill an empty space within you. They come to remind you of qualities you already possessed but had forgotten. And with that remembrance, healing begins, quietly, gently, and without dependence. Every meaningful connection awakens something within you. Perhaps a forgotten strength, a wound that has waited years to be acknowledged, or a part of yourself you never realized existed. Because the person standing before you is never just another individual, they also awaken an archetype. According to Jung, archetypes are universal psychological patterns that exist within the collective unconscious. They shape the symbolic images, emotional tendencies, and behavioral patterns shared across humanity. When someone enters your life, they may awaken the hero, the protector, the rebel, the victim, the wise one, or the wounded child already living within your psyche. Most of the time, this happens beyond conscious awareness. You simply feel it. You may suddenly feel an overwhelming need to protect someone, or you may long for them to rescue you. You may instinctively step into the role of a guide, or for the first time feel safe enough to lower your defenses. Sometimes you are not truly falling in love with the person. You are falling in love with the part of yourself they awaken. That is one reason certain relationships feel so overwhelmingly intense. They place you in direct contact with hidden dimensions of your own psyche. These archetypal dynamics are never fixed. As the relationship evolves, the roles evolve as well. The same person may make you feel powerful one day and leave you emotionally shattered the next. That does not mean the connection was false. It simply means that the relationship is touching different layers of who you are. The other person may be the spark, but the fire has always been yours. It is easy to mistake this process for love alone. Yet in many cases, what is really taking place is an encounter between inner images. You are relating not only to the person before you, but also to what they symbolize, what they awaken within you, and what they come to represent in your emotional world. That is why some encounters leave such a lasting mark on us. Not because they lasted a lifetime, but because they awakened a part of your soul you could never quite name, and once that part awakens, it never truly falls asleep again. It changes the way you see the world, the way you connect with others, and ultimately the way you experience your own existence. These awakenings are part of the journey of individuation. Through them, you slowly begin to recognize the many voices already living within you. You are not only the person you have chosen to become, you are also every version of yourself that still holds the potential to emerge. Sometimes another person's presence is all it takes to awaken that potential. You never meet people by accident. You encounter living mirrors that reflect different parts of your own psyche. Every meaningful connection offers an opportunity to become more whole, more self-aware, and more deeply aligned with who you truly are. Not every love story is meant to last forever. Some people enter your life to open your heart, even if they must first break it. Yet even that breaking carries meaning. Because certain encounters are not meant to last. They are meant to transform you. They arrive like fire, burning away everything that no longer serves your growth. And when their purpose has been fulfilled, they leave. What remains is often silence, emptiness, longing. But they also leave behind something far more valuable: space, a space where something new can begin. From a Jungian perspective, these powerful relationships often represent the psyche revealing itself through necessary disruption. The ego longs for permanence and security, while the deeper self seeks truth, movement, and transformation. And when life becomes stagnant, love can arrive like an earthquake, shattering old foundations so that something more authentic can be built in their place. At first, it feels as though you have lost someone. But in reality, what you have truly lost is an older version of yourself, one that no longer belonged to the person you were becoming. The truth is, you may not have been ready to let that version go on your own. Sometimes that is exactly why certain people enter your life. They shake your world so they can set you free. Whether they realize it or not, the connection itself carries that purpose. The end of a relationship does not mean the love was meaningless. In many cases, it simply means that its purpose has been fulfilled. It brought hidden parts of you into the light. It revealed your idealizations, your emotional dependencies, and the places where you were still vulnerable. It shattered illusions so that something more authentic could take their place. Accepting that not every story ends with a traditional happy ending is difficult, but perhaps the real happy ending is found in the clarity that remains, the strength that emerges, and the awareness you gain along the way. Not every loss is truly an ending. Some are simply new beginnings in disguise. Jung viewed these painful ruptures as an essential part of the journey of individuation. What feels like emotional collapse may actually be the beginning of inner alignment. When love falls apart, it often exposes what was never truly in harmony, making room for something more authentic, more conscious, and more whole. Sometimes people love you so deeply that without ever intending to, they become the ones who break your heart. They pull you beyond your comfort zone. They lead you away from paths that no longer belong to you. In doing so, they create the conditions for your own rebirth. As painful as it may be, perhaps this too is a form of love. These encounters are not mistakes written into your destiny. They are moments of profound alignment. And one day when you look back with emotional maturity, you may quietly realize, this had to happen. Because only through that breaking could something truer finally be built. Some people are meant to stay for only a season. They are not meant to remain forever, yet their impact can last a lifetime. They never become part of your everyday life, yet they leave a lasting imprint. They open a door within you, awaken a part of yourself that had long been asleep, and then quietly move on. What they leave behind is often silence. But with time, that silence becomes wisdom. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some relationships exist only as transitions, brief, intense, and complete in their own way. The psyche understands that certain people are meant to walk beside us only until a particular lesson has been learned. Beyond that point, holding on only means resisting what has already reached its natural conclusion. The ego clings, but the deeper self understands. Accepting that a chapter has ended does not diminish its value. On the contrary, it honors what the experience gave you without demanding that it continue forever. That is where forgiveness begins, not as an excuse, but as an act of liberation. When you forgive, you release the invisible thread that keeps you tied to the past. You do not erase what happened. You simply choose to stop carrying the weight of what can no longer be changed. Forgiveness is not about justifying another person's actions or pretending the pain never existed. It is the decision to stop feeding what continues to wound you. It is recognizing that just as the other person acted from the level of awareness they possessed at the time, You also did the best you could with the understanding you had. True forgiveness is not really about someone else. It is about you. It is about the peace you choose to cultivate within yourself. And gratitude is not about romanticizing the past. It is about accepting it. When you look back, you begin to see that despite the pain, something within you changed, something awakened, something quietly matured, even if that transformation arrived through tears and silence. Some people taught you through love, others taught you through absence, but every one of them, in one way or another, became part of your journey. Life unfolds in cycles, and every relationship carries its own lesson. Some teach you what love truly is. Others teach you what it is not. Some help you heal. Others break you apart. But every single one leaves you changed. And when you can finally feel gratitude, even for those who once caused you pain, something begins to shift. Anger fades. Attachment loosens. And your heart makes room for what comes next. Not everything has to last forever to be meaningful. Sometimes all that remains to say is, thank you for passing through my life. Even if they never stayed, you continue your journey lighter, clearer, and more whole. Because the soul understands that everyone arrives at the right moment and leaves when the lesson has been learned. In the end, very little was ever truly accidental. Those who entered your life, those who remained, and those who walked away were all, in one way or another, resonating with something that already existed within you. Some arrived with kindness, others arrived like a storm. Some lifted you up, while others shattered everything you thought you knew. Yet every one of them touched something inside you, and that touch changed you. They brought into your life exactly what you needed to face, even when it was painful, even when it felt unfair, and even when it made no sense at the time. The unconscious often moves in ways that logic cannot fully explain. That is why clarity so often arrives only after the dust has settled. Pain becomes a sign, chaos becomes a story, and the other person becomes a mirror. Every encounter serves a purpose, to awaken you, to reveal what was hidden, to teach you, to challenge you, to heal you, and sometimes to break you apart so that something stronger can emerge. Recognizing this pattern is itself a sign of growth, because the moment you stop seeing people as either lucky accidents or cruel punishments, and begin seeing them as part of your own inner journey, the story changes. Drama gives way to awareness. The real journey has never been about controlling who enters or leaves your life. It is about recognizing what each person came to reveal within you. It is about integrating what has been awakened, releasing what no longer serves your growth, and making space for the person you are still becoming. Because the goal is not to escape pain, it is to discover the meaning hidden within it. Along this journey, you have seen countless pieces of yourself reflected in the eyes of others. You discovered yourself in the excitement of a new beginning, in the ache of an ending, in the intensity of projection, and in the quiet presence of genuine connection. You learned that not every relationship is meant to last forever, but every relationship has something to teach you. Even the ones that felt like loss were often guiding you toward a fuller version of yourself. The unconscious recognizes what the conscious mind cannot yet see. The soul knows before the mind understands. And the encounters that once seemed like coincidence may have been moments of reunion with the forgotten parts of yourself, parts that had been waiting to be seen, understood, and embraced. You never met anyone by accident. Every person became a bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. Every story left something behind, not a wound, but a map. And now, as you look back on everything you have lived through, perhaps you can finally say, with quiet peace, it was worth it. Because in the end, every encounter became exactly what it was meant to be, a doorway leading you back to yourself. If this video gave you a new perspective, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join us for more journeys into psychology, philosophy, and the hidden patterns of the human mind.